That's the new year. Anybody notice that? And it's time for New Year's resolutions. I don't know how many of you are New Year's resolution makers, but I went to the source of all wisdom and knowledge and asked, what are the 10 most frequently made New Year's resolutions? The iPhone. And so I went to my phone and I asked, all right, what about it? So I've got them here, but you all help me out. What are the ones, they crop up every year, they're the same ones. What are they? Lose weight, exercise, save money, be nicer. Yes, I appreciate you doing that. Shelley's working the office now. What else? Read through the Bible didn't make the list, but that's a good one. See, you're a Christian, and this is just other stuff. But stop smoking, stop drinking, get organized. Anybody ever thought, open up the closet? I'm going to get organized. Learn something new, spend more time with your family, help people. I looked up in another website and said, what are the 10 most frequently broken New Year's resolutions? The same ones. So anyway, that is kind of interesting. But here we are at the beginning of a new year, and I want to introduce to you our year theme and talk with you how, in a very simple way, about how at the beginning of this new year, we might step into it in a way that will help us to actually accomplish the things that are on our hearts. Now, our New Year's theme is this: discovering hidden treasures. So I got my treasure box up here. By the way, this is mine. I was thinking, where do I find a treasure box? And I looked up, and there it was on my shelf. You know what's in here? I thought, I wonder what kind of treasure I put in here. It's birthday cards from my 50th birthday, from people who reminded me how old I was. Anyway, but we're going to be using that theme, discovering hidden treasures, by going to places in the Bible, to scripture passages maybe we don't go to as frequently. Some of them that may seem to us almost like they're hidden away. But we're going to go and find God's treasure, God's hidden treasure in these particular passages. So let's go to one of them today. Lamentations chapter 3. Lamentations just sounds bad, doesn't it? I mean, it just sounds gloomy. Kind of like today is outside. It just looks dark. It sounds dark. And so as we come to the book of Lamentations, we discover it is actually a lament. It's written by Jeremiah, and Jeremiah in this book is lamenting for two reasons. First, there's a lament because the people are going into exile, the people of Israel, and he's just heartbroken about that. But the second and the biggest part of the lament is this: they're going into exile because they've been unfaithful to God. They have not been obedient to Him and listened to Him. And so there's this outpouring lament that he has. But in the middle of it, there's this treasure that we find. And let's take a look at this. It comes from Lamentations chapter 3, beginning at verse 19. The thought of my suffering and homelessness is bitter beyond words. I will never forget this awful time as I grieve over my loss. Now, for some of you, you may read those verses and say, that describes 2012 for me. For some of you, that may have been a really tough year. And, when we have those hard times, that kind of sticks with us. But look at verse 21. He says, yet, now he doesn't deny he's been through these hard times. He says, yet I still dare to hope when I remember this. Sometimes we forget to remember. And he says, I'm going to go back and remember. Yes, the times have been hard now, but I'm going to remember. Well, what's he going to remember? Here it is. The faithful love of the Lord never ends. His mercies never cease. How often do they cease? Say that again. Never. Some of us need to hear that today. Great is His faithfulness. And this is the very verse out of which we get our great hymn, Great is Thy Faithfulness. Great is His faithfulness. His mercies begin afresh. How often? How many mornings? Each and every morning. I say to myself, the Lord is my inheritance. Therefore, I will hope in Him. What a great word. The Lord is good to those who depend on Him, to those who search for Him. So it is good to, say it with me, wait quietly for salvation from the Lord. And it's good for people to submit at an early age to the yoke of His discipline. In the middle of this lament, suddenly there's hope. In the midst of despair, suddenly there comes a light. In the midst of all of the struggle, suddenly there is life. And it comes because he remembers. Now, I've put the outline of my sermon on the front of your bulletin. So if you just go ahead and take a look at that, you'll have it there. And I'm going to tell you right up front, I heard this from somebody else, and I thought, wow, that speaks to my heart. And I want to just share these with you as we prepare to come to communion very briefly and see if these things may speak to your heart as well. So, here's some things for us to think about to help whatever it is that we want to do in the new year come to reality. First, he says, think progress, not perfection. Say that with me. Think progress, not perfection. Now, it's a dangerous thing for somebody who has a grandchild to stand up here in front of you. But Betty and I had the privilege of going and seeing our little Sophia. She's 17 months old and just cuter than cute can be. She is jabbering away, and but she can't really speak all that well yet, although if you talk with Betty, you'll discover it's the smartest child that there has ever been in the history of the world, and who am I to disagree with my wife? But she's just a cutie. But she doesn't get all her words right. I'm Pop, and she calls me a bop. Well, you know, but she's making progress. And all of us understand that with children. They are still making progress, they're learning things, and yet some of us are so hard on ourselves. We look into the mirror and expect perfection out of ourselves, and the question is, are we making progress? For example, some of you may have said, as we were reminded earlier, I'm going to read the Bible every day. Well, that's a great goal. Some of you here, and today is January the 6th, some of you are saying, I already missed a day. Well, but how many days a week did you read it last year? 2. Well, you've made progress. Just because we're not yet perfect, let's not give up. So I want to say first thing is think progress, not perfection. The second thing is this. Think future, not the past. Say that with me. Think future, not the past. Now here's the problem. When we think about the past, usually we get stuck in the past. Paul said this. He said, forgetting the things which are behind and looking towards the things that are ahead, I press on towards the goal for the prize of the upward call of God in Christ Jesus. You don't let the past hold you trapped. Somebody may be saying, for example, well, I want to lose weight, but I've never been any good at losing weight, and I've never lost any weight, so I'll probably never lose any weight. And we just get stuck. Our past holds us trapped. But God has for us a brand new future. It may be that somebody says, you know, there's a goal that I've had to grow as a disciple and take some steps that will help me to actually be stronger. But I don't know, I tried that and you're letting the past hold you back. God has a brand new start for you in this year. Think future, not past. Satan loves to remind us of our past. Does Satan ever come to you and remind you about all your failures? Remind you about your sins? Well, I heard somebody put it this way once. If Satan comes to remind you of your past, you just remind him of his future. So that's a good word there. All right. Third thing is this. Think together, not alone. Let's say that together. Think together, not alone. By the way, congratulations on your perfect attendance this year in church. We've come together because we're convinced that we are the body of Christ. We're not alone. We need each other. We help each other. We grow together. In Hebrews 10:25, the author says, now don't give up meeting together, as some are in the habit of doing, but encourage each other. And the word it used there, it says, spur one another on to love and good works. Now, I'm not a horse person, but I've watched movies. What are spurs for? You poke them in the side of the horse, and the horse thinks it'd be a good idea to go faster. It gets them moving. Well, you know what? When we're in this together, we help each other sometimes to get moving. Some of us need to be encouraged, spurred on to love and good works. God is at work among us. So we want together. We want to be together, not alone. I need to tell you, as I'm repeating myself here, but I count on the small groups that I'm a part of. I'm part of Bible study groups. I'm part of accountability groups. I'm part of one-to-one Bible study. I mean, all of these things. I need the people of God. All of us do. We are the body of Christ together. So when you're thinking, think together, not alone. And here's the last thing. Think God's Spirit, not your willpower. Anybody just tried to do it on your own before? It's like trying to lift yourself by your own bootstraps. You say, well, okay, but aren't we meant to try? Yes. But let me give you a different picture here. It's not about our trying to just whip things up by our own effort, but it's about putting ourselves in a place where God can come and help us. For example, does going to school automatically help you learn? No, you can go to school and be dumb as a post if you don't learn anything there. But when you go to school, you put yourself in a place where you can learn. When a car breaks down, you take the car to the shop. When you get the car to the shop, is it automatically fixed? No, but it's in a place where it can be fixed. And when you and I read our Bibles, when we pray, when we worship together, it doesn't automatically mean that something's happened, but what happens is this. We put ourselves in a place where we can receive from God. When I open the Word, I can hear from God. When I pray, I can hear from God. When I'm with my brothers and sisters in Christ and we're in conversation, I can hear from God. When we're in worship, I can hear from God. We are together able to listen to what God has to say. So it's by God's Spirit, not by our own willpower. So here are just a few things that were so helpful to me. God is in the business of transforming us. In Romans chapter 12, it says this, do not be conformed to the world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. We do not transform ourselves, we are transformed. God does that in us. And that's the great news. It could go like this. I can't. He can. I'll let him. So today, as we come to communion, wouldn't that be a good way to come? Depending on him, coming together, looking towards the future, and allowing God to help us to grow in him, that we might become fully devoted followers of Jesus Christ. So we're going to come to communion here. Let me just give a few words of instruction. First, This is for all who love our Lord Jesus Christ and want to walk in His footsteps. Even if you are here and say, well, I haven't been following Him at all, but I want to, you're welcome. You don't need to be a member of this church. You don't need to be a Methodist. This is the Lord's table, and all are welcome here. When you come here, you can leave behind the past and step out into a new future. Let me give a couple of practical words of instruction. First, the choir will come, and the ushers will guide you, and you'll come down the side aisles there, and you'll receive communion by intinction. You'll get a piece of bread, then dip it into the juice, and then you can receive both of the elements together. After you've received communion, you can either return by the center aisles to your seat, or if you'd like to kneel and pray here, you're welcome to do that and then go back to your seat. At the corners, there are offering plates. Anything that's left there goes to help those with local needs. This is just our front line of ministry right here in Valdosta. And so if you could put in $1, $5, whatever God puts on your heart, that goes to help right here in our community. And that's a blessing that we're able to help folks. So thank you for what you do. But as you come with an open heart. You're putting yourself in a place where God can give grace to you. You're welcome at the Lord's table.